All right.
Hello, 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 beautiful people.
Yes, this is Eric
And ELAINE.
of ericandelaine.com. Your country boy.
And your city girl.
So listen, here we are, another time to come together. Welcome if you're new to the channel. We are a channel that deals with all things relationships. And tonight, we're going to be talking about recovering from an affair. Can you love someone who cheated on you again?
Is it possible?
Is it possible? Yes. So if you want to know more about that subject, stick around. We'll be right back. All right.
So you ready to dive in?
Ready to dive in.
Let's help the people.
Help the peoples.
Help families.
Yep.
Help relationships. And let's learn.
All right. So I'm not going to say yes, you can. Yes. We're talking about, can you love someone who cheated on you again? Basically, this is the second time that they cheated.
Wow. Okay.
Can you do that?
So the question is re-offending.
The re-offending
Okay.
type thing.
Okay. And of course, I'm sure there are many answers to that. I mean, when I say many answers to it, I mean, of course, it's either yes or no. But there's so many fine lines. And
some complexity.
There's definitely some complexities with that. And so, let's go.
So, yeah, if we would like to know, if you, in the chat, if you could do that. If you could forgive someone. If you could be, or if you're the cheated, so there's the cheater,
Okay.
and the cheated.
Okay.
So if you're the cheated, can you forgive and be vulnerable enough to
love again.
Yeah, to love again.
To give it a try.
To give it a try. So my God. So again, we are Eric and ELAINE, your relationship architects. We are here for you should you need assistance.
Absolutely.
In that.
Yeah.
All right. So,
and because this topic really is not an easy one.
No.
And so we always like to make it known that, listen, relationships are easy. People are complicated.
Why are you pointing in my direction?
That's not your direction.
Oh,
this
okay.
is your direction.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is just...
It just looked like he was pointing in my direction.
Somebody's feeling a little... I don't know.
So, yeah, relationships are messy.
They can be messy. Absolutely.
It's the repair that is the key. It's the
That's
repair.
good. Yeah, absolutely.
How you clean up makes the difference. Right?
And so what do we say to the topic of, can you heal from an affair again?
Okay, so I tell you what, we'll give an answer after we go through all the material.
Okay.
And you see whether or not, your answer. And we love to know in the comments what your answer is regarding it. Do you think that you would be able to forgive someone who cheated on you again? Or if you have been cheated on and you have a success story, share that with us down in the comments below.
Yeah.
All right. So the question is, would you want to be committed to your partner if you trusted them again.
Okay.
Are you ready? And that's a big deal. If you're the cheated, you know.
Absolutely. It's something that's not easy. And so we don't want to make light of it as if it's easy. But we do want to, of course, just kind of give some tips, because one of the ways to do that, I think, is you have to count up the cost. I mean, literally, you have to count up the cost and decide within yourself, is this what you want? Is this what you're willing to do? Because it takes a lot. It's going to be what I normally try my best to stay away from that word work when it comes to relationships. And for those who know me know why, but there is work involved on both ends, especially when we're talking about not re-offending. So
that's a great key, because I started out with the cheated. So does the cheater have to be committed to trust their partner again?
The cheater? Oh, well, to trust, I think it's a rebuilding. I think it's a redefining of the relationship in its totality. So I think there's a place where, not in the same way.
Right.
Because, if you are the one who have offended, you are the cheater, then, that's a whole different space that you're sitting in, that you're not the one that's having to rebuild your insecurities that were brought on by the offense, by the affair. And so I think we have to steer clear of who needs to gain whose trust.
Right. Well, I think the what's interesting is, and what happens at times. So being in the barbershop, you hear a lot.
Do you?
Man, if you've been in a barbershop, I've said a lot of times.
So y'all are like at the beauty shops? The beauty shops is the place where you get the gossip.
It's the spirit of the beauty shop, barbershop. Not barbershop, barbershop.
Barbershop?
Barbershop.
Barbershop. Okay.
So, and I hear the players. I've always said that a player is someone who's been played. That's the only reason why he's been played. And a lot of times they're afraid to commit because they think the other person is cheating. And that could be from the first offense. But a lot of times, we've had, situations where we've known people that once the wife cheats, it's like the apocalypse, it's like the end of, and not saying that it's always the men that cheats, because women cheat just as much. We talked about that before. Right. That women cheat just as much. And especially since they entered into the workplace, back in the 40s, 50s. So,
and this is history. This is statistics, right? That proves this point. So it's not an Eric and Elaine thing.
No.
Don't come for us.
No.
But it is.
But the person has to, I think, in the back of their mind, because they cheated, they're going to think that the other partner is cheating. So they have to be committed to develop some trust too. That partner is not cheating on them just because it's like people, if a person is a liar, they think everybody lies sometimes,
So that's an inward, I think that involves the inward work.
Right.
Of the individual, because, again, a perspective is true to the person. Right. Until that person is able to really deal with the thing that's giving them that viewed skew of the world. Right. And so, it's something that's an inward work. So
cool beans. So both parties have to be ready to be vulnerable and be committed to reestablishing a relationship. So absolutely. The second thing, you want to ask yourself, did you release the issue, the cheated? Did you release the offense? Did you release the anger and the resentment regarding the betrayal? You feel betrayed, you feel messed over, bamboozled, hoodwinked. I'm sorry, that's Malcolm X. Okay, so, and are you able to move forward? Asking yourself that.
I agree. And it may not just be, are you able to, but are you willing?
Are you willing?
It's kind of like,
that's right.
That's right. Because it's, remember growing up in school when, I don't know if you experienced that in, school district that you grew up in, but anyway, no.
What?
But no, so we had the teachers that would, when you were in the early years and you would say, can I have? And they would say, no, may I? Mm-hmm. Right. And they gave you a different perspective, a different way, of course, of asking for what you want. Because you could do anything. You could do anything, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But, even in this situation, it's not can you, but are you willing?
Yes.
Are you willing to move forward from the place of anger, right? Because being angry is okay because you have been offended. Mm-hmm. And so you give yourself that time and that space to sit in it and identify that emotion of anger. Mm-hmm. And then are you willing though? Are you willing to see that person? I think, are you willing to respect them again?
Wow. Yeah.
Are you willing to, move into the place of, I can see this person and I think I can admire them again.
I mean, just imagine how rough that could be. I mean, the world knows. And even if the world doesn't know, everybody doesn't know that, this has happened. There are, it feels like everyone knows, like they could see it on you.
Yeah.
Can you even fathom being in a happy, loving relationship with that person again?
Yeah.
It's going to be key.
Yeah. Can you see it? How so many times we can see, ourselves in a certain, light or whatever. We can see ourselves, happy or whatever, or we can see ourselves, in a space, in a place. And so can you see yourself still having a future? Together.
Yeah. And without the things showing up again.
Yeah.
Will you allow we talked about that, and I think it's going to come up in a few minutes. But oh man, I lost that thought. But it brings to think of the influence of other people, like at the barbershop. Them telling you what you ought to do.
Yeah.
And man, shoot, couldn't have been me.
Yeah. And it's a lot of that, and that's why, when we started off, I said count up the cost. You have to count up the cost. You have to count up the cost regardless of what, the naysayers may say. It's your life. It's your relationship. And so like what you mentioned too, is like, how can you see yourself, together and having a future together? Can you see that? And so, we have to really be able to count up the cost. And that means going through the smear campaign, and going through you looking like you got egg on your face, and because everybody knows, and everybody knows that you are that woman.
Or that person.
Or that man. You put up with that. Y'all, oh my goodness.
Imagine the people that try to seize the moment to, come in and, save the person, the cheated, or, they see them at a place where they may be at an indecision and try to get in. Yeah, they're vulnerable. Yeah. Like, let me get in.
That's a whole other topic, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson.
So let's flip it to the cheated side. Do you think that the cheated will have some, the cheater side? So what they're going to have to deal with some backlash too.
Oh yeah,
they're going to have to deal with backlash,
and yeah, they do, and that's again accounting up the cost, right? But it's also taking responsibility,
right?
And I think in the end, when we take responsibility of our actions, of our decisions, and be okay with, what, I was wrong, or I was guilty, and just, be willing to learn and to grow. And I think that's what a lot of if we're going to look at repairing from, affairs, is in looking at the fact that it is a level of growth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a level that if you're going to stay, you're going to grow.
That's right.
If you leave, you're going to grow. I mean, life is going to teach you something.
Right. Because truth be told, that whole thing is it's basically to where the common denominator is you.
Always.
We say this all the time. The common denominator is you, and you have to choose to be who you're going to be, and it doesn't matter who you with.
Mm-hmm.
You choose to leave, it's going to be a wrap.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a wrap.
Absolutely. And, one of the other things that we always say too is, regardless, you want to give it your all.
Uh-huh.
I tell women this all the time. You want it to be said in the end that I gave it my all.
Yes.
Because here's the thing, when you brought up the point that, what are others going to say?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to know. And there's going to come a time and a day when your children are going to want answers.
I was going to say that. You got children involved.
Yeah. Your grandchildren one day are going to know, wow, what happened?
Yeah.
And you want to be able to stand flat-footed, as my mama used to say, in the back of your legs.
Mm-hmm.
Not just standing there.
Just standing there, but in the back.
In the back of your legs, you want to be able to say, I gave it my all.
Right. And giving it your all, y'all, doesn't mean that you stayed.
Now
that's not the meaning of that. So
yeah.
When you establish that you can overcome all the external opposition or the internal opposition of what you think and perceive people are going to say, and how you're going to look as the cheated, dealing with
the embarrassment,
feeling like something, just an ugly situation.
Yeah.
Can you forgive? The F word that came up. Can you forgive?
The F word.
The F word.
Watch your language.
Show mouth, boy.
Yeah.
Can you forgive the actual actions and not play it over and over in your mind? That's the torment.
Yeah. And even I think the mature part of that is really understanding and knowing that the thought processes that's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
It will. It would. I have different in sessions or what have you, had it said that listen, this keeps coming in my mind every time I have to think about it. I have to think about him. I have to think about her. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a part of the process of healing.
Now listen.
So, but it's what you do with that.
That's right. And it's a slow process. So we'll just put that out there this is not a quick situation. Matter of fact, the cheating situation may not have been a quick situation. Because even the internal things, you start blaming yourself. You start saying what you did, what I could have done differently. I mean, listen, you cannot change a happen. You cannot change a happen. And forgiveness is really not for the partner, for the cheater. Right? Forgiveness, if you're the cheated, the forgiveness is for you. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And truth be told, the cheater has to forgive themselves if they want a healthy relationship.
That's true.
Because they don't want to just beat themselves up and just, and I know that feels like it's condoning the perpetrator. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to condone the perpetrator.
Not at all.
But look, who has not done something wrong ever?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Raise your third hand.
He who has
that
no
ain't
sin,
nobody, right?
nobody. There's nobody that has. So choosing to forgive, begin to build, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but it was something you was going to bring out earlier about not bringing it up again.
Well, yeah, I mean, so when we're talking about forgiveness, I think, one part of that is really realizing that, it's not fair to require that even though you've come forward and said, hey, I'm sorry, I apologize, And even you may even say, I will never do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not fair to say to that person, okay, don't bring it up anymore.
Yeah.
We said we're gonna mend this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you don't have the right to continue to bring this up every time they keep bringing up my past, up my wrong. Well, you don't get the opportunity to declare the date or the time that healing is going to take place in your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
You are not the one that is able to say, hey, there's a time limit to your grief process. That person has to be allowed that. And so in the same way, when we injure ourselves, literally, when your child goes and they, climb up that tree, y'all got them little boys or them little girls, and they climb that tree and they fall and they break that ligament.
Leg or something.
Okay. So
you own that ligament. Yeah, you own that ligament thing. Yeah, my sister broke, she tore her ligaments.
Yes, when you break it, but you take them in, and you have to have support. They put a what? They put a cast on.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put a cast on it so that it can what?
Heal. So
that it can heal. So that cast is support.
Mm-hmm. And even in the cast, you'll still feel a little pain. That's why they send them home with some pain medicine.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so it's in the same way when we injure each other in the emotional area, in our emotions, right? We still have to give that person support during the healing process. If you are the cheater, you still have to give support so that spouse can actually know that you have, you're there. Don't run, don't leave.
Right.
What is it like to really be there and be of support?
Right.
So that they can heal and they can heal properly.
Right. So that's support. And there you go. What the partner must do, the cheater, be humble. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Be humble. Mm-hmm. Be patient. And if you have made a commitment, like I said in the beginning, if you've made a commitment to the relationship, mm-hmm. you have to forgive yourself too.
Yeah.
Right? Forgive yourself, and even in your imagination, not imagining that person going and retaliating against you. Mm. The torment and the turmoil of wondering.
That's torture.
She comes home late, or he comes home a little late. Say you're the lady and you cheated, and he comes home a little late, and you're wondering, okay, he must be doing something.
First thought.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or if you if it's the man, the wife is checking to see where he's at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking through the phone. Mm-hmm. We said that a couple of videos ago about, man, if you have a habit of not doing anything, you're not concerned about your wife or your husband looking through your phone.
Right.
And I'm
transparency.
Right. And I'm well, let me not say that. Them having access to your phone.
Oh, okay.
So because I don't think that's a good practice to go looking. I'm gonna go look for something. No.
What they say, scratch a
lie, find a thief.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
But I'm talking about, if a person is not doing anything, why even get to that place? Mm-hmm. That turmoil in your mind.
You will find something,
and you will make it and turn it into something that is not. Probably not.
That point.
Then you'll wind up deceiving yourself.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's just a thing, man. Access to email. Now, can you have some privacy? Hey, ain't no problem with having privacy. But for logistical sakes, mm-hmm. Sometimes I could be out and I'm like, Lane, can you look at my email? Mm-hmm. Can you look in there and send this to me? I'm driving.
Right.
Or whatever. Can you look and see what this time?
Uptight,
I'm not tripping about one. I ain't doing nothing.
Right.
Yes. And it's just easier to live that life. It's easier to live one life and everything. I've seen the toll that cheating takes. I didn't have my daddy not in my life, but living at home with me and my biological mother. I didn't have that because of cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think too that we have to, really acknowledge the fact that the person who cheated, there is a place of atonement.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So there is a place where you are, as you said, humble, and you're literally vulnerable. You have to be willing to be totally honest.
Yeah, it's coming up.
And just bear all.
Right. And the cheater has to do the same thing. That's a vulnerable place to forgive someone.
Yeah.
And to release them. Are you going to, again, forgiveness is a gift to you. Because unforgiveness, it's been said that it's like drinking, fixing some poison for somebody else, but you drinking
it. You're drinking it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes no sense. It changes all of your hormone structure and so on and so forth inside your body. It releases the wrong endorphins and all these other chemicals in the body and can facilitate sickness.
Yeah. And absolutely.
Some people are sick, but not because of physical issues, but it's because of their emotional state.
Yeah. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. So in that vulnerable piece, I think, for both parties, the cheater and the cheated, share some of the same things that they must do in order for them to go forth in the relationship. So let's get into some of these. How do you go ahead and start some quick tips on how you can go ahead and begin to rebuild? How do you repair? Okay. And you mentioned atonement.
I did. I jumped ahead.
It's all right.
But so atoning, that's of course coming, it's coming clean. It's being totally honest and giving full disclosure, right? And it's saying, hey, listen, this is what I'm guilty of, but I am coming for forgiveness. I'm coming because I value you. I value us. And so they're willing to see the bigger picture of their hurt and of their harm, but also see the bigger picture of what the future can look like together.
That's right.
Again.
That's my boy sang that song, I Just Want to Be a Good Man. That's all I want to be. There's a part in there, he said that I want to tell you everything, never leaving out the parts that's going to make you, make you mad, basically.
Right.
I'm going to telling you everything.
Yeah.
Tell everything.
Yeah.
Say that again. Everything. The words of Cat Williams.
Yeah.
Say everything, my friend, because if you don't tell everything, it continues to chip away at the cheated's even desire to continue on in the relationship.
Yeah.
Because when bits and pieces come out, it's like, what else you hide? What else you hide? And then when you have told everything, they still wondering, what else you not saying?
Right.
And just do yourself a favor to be clear of it and be able to stand flat-footed. And as my wife say, in the back of your legs, and share it all so that nobody else can come back and say anything. It's like steal the thunder from any potential enemy.
Yeah.
It's like what Kirk Franklin did back in the day. Remember when Kirk Franklin, he had a sexual issue. And he came out, even though
the
pornography. Yeah. So he wasn't unfaithful to his wife, that
wasn't the issue.
Physical, because most people think that physical, you got to sleep with somebody to have cheated on them. No, that's emotional cheating. That's financial cheating. There's spiritual cheating. There is cheating is above and beyond improper text communication. All right. Yeah, you got your Facebook meeting, cheating, email, cheating through emails.
Right. I mean, you got spiritual cheating, you know, financial cheating. It goes on, and that is an important person whose text came through. All right, but yes.
So yeah, you don't have a second chance to right this wrong. You gotta right the wrong the first time. All right, so yeah, you don't get all of it out. You don't have a second chance to right this wrong.
Yeah, because it's, you know, the damage has been done, and so, you know, and that's the part of it, is having remorse. Right?
Yeah.
Having true remorse for what has been done.
Not that you got caught.
Not that you got caught. Right. Because that's that's different. But having true remorse for, you know, for the action, you know, and for what is done to your relationship. And so the dismantling of the trust. Now we've got to rebuild.
Hands down. You
know, and so I think that's one of the things that, of course, in the atoning piece, is that person having full remorse, but also, you know, committing and making a vow to not redo it, you know, to not offend again, you know, and then, you know, that means you've got to be accountable. Right.
You have to, this particular, you know, in all of this, it takes, again, you have to be prepared for the long haul. It takes a while.
Yeah.
To repair, right? Because that's what you're doing. It's not an overnight preparation.
Well, just like in the example of, you know, when you break a leg, you know, your healing doesn't come overnight. You don't wake up the next morning and say, "Oh, I fell out that tree and you know, fell, you know, out the window and everything, and I'm good." You know, you try that. Try walking on it again.
It's going to remind you.
Exactly.
It's going to remind you, even though you've gotten over the emotional pain, the initial pain, and all of these other things, you know, the initial pain, you know, and you go through forgiveness and everything, but you got, that speaks to fighting fair. That when you have, the next time you have a fight, it may come up.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you scrap everything and say, "I don't want this leg, cut it off," because you still feel a pain 3 weeks after you've had the cast on?
That's right.
You know, no, you don't. You if once you forgive in this, then you got to fight fair.
And so even in that, you walk around with a set of crutches, right?
Yes.
You walk around with some support for 6 weeks at least, right? For 6 weeks. I remember I used to want to break my leg or break something. I want the cast, and I wanted the crutches.
Oh, so people can sign your cast and stuff?
I just thought it was just so cool. Isn't that something? But anyway, wanted no more. I got it. Right. I got it. Not in the way that I wanted it.
Right.
But no, I was just thinking that, you know, even in that though, you know, that there are weeks that you go. And so what that looks like in your relationship, though, is when that person who's been offended, the one who's been cheated on, when they do have their episodes where they're bringing it up and they're seeing it all play out again, that's your time and your opportunity to support them, not run, not turn and fuss and, you know, and you having a fit because they're just holding you to the past. No, they need your support while they're healing. So that may mean going up and taking them and hugging them, right? Figuring out,
reinforcing your commitment.
Yes, reinforcing your commitment and the fact that I am not leaving. I am here because I made this mess. I'm gonna clean it up. And so I think that's
because
a part of
I want you.
Yeah.
Because I love you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love us.
Yeah. Hands down.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, that reaffirm that commitment in being a support to that partner at that time. And I think that speaks to where you were saying as far as not saying that a person can't use that. I know most people will say that you shouldn't, keep bringing up the past, that is one of the destructive behaviors, bringing up the, old stuff. Yeah, but that's 10 years down the line and you still bringing it up.
Yeah, right.
5 years down the line,
right.
You still bringing it up. This person hadn't repeated those behaviors in 2 years, but you still bringing it up as if it's still that person.
Right. And that's another point, is for the cheated on, the offended person. I think you really have to, this is the part when we talked about earlier about being willing. Right. So now this is the part where you're responsible for your feelings and your emotions, and you're responsible to discern for yourself. Okay, now if I'm accepting this, I'm going to have to be open enough to remove the fault finding, or I've got to be able to move forward from this. And you've got to be willing to let those emotions not take control of you, but allow for yourself to really see that person as becoming new again.
Right.
Discover them all over again. Discover, really have those conversations, because then we're talking about how to handle conflict. Right. And so these are things that we can help you with. But these are where you seek professional. We would definitely encourage you seeking a professional, because this is where it's the time for that person to say, I'm not going to hold on to this. You becoming responsible, because we, especially as women, we can sit in something and we can sit with that thing and we can hold on to it and we can nurture that offense. We can nurture that pain. Why are you looking around you, sir? Anyways, listen.
I locked the keys in the car 13 years ago. Can I be free?
I mean, but that is the true part about it, is really, you have to be able to say, okay, now enough is enough. I'm going to stay and I'm going to be committed wholeheartedly. I'm going to accept their forgiveness. So in other words, give yourself a timeline.
Hands down.
Give yourself a timeline to grieve, to be angry,
feel it all
the way through, to go through the sadness, to go through all of the emotions that is necessary for you to go on and to reach the other side.
Right.
But then there is a day when you say, okay, we're in it for the long haul.
Right. When you're in it for the long haul, that means you're going to have to take some time and begin to reconnect. And when I say reconnect, I'm talking about reconnecting sexually.
Yes.
Because it was a sexual offense, I understand and I know that it can be difficult to go back in to, make that romantic connection.
So this is the attachment piece, right? Where we become, when we begin to heal, and many times it's been that place where our intimacy has been touched. And so really and truly, to build on that, it's going to take being vulnerable again in that intimate place, in the literal bedroom with one another. So this is where you have the true conversations. In all this, you're becoming new again. You're having the hard conversations of, okay, so what is it that you like? What is it? How can I, please you? How can I, what is it that, we can grow in this together, right? And what is it that, what your emotional state, how are you? And you have those in-depth conversations so that you can be able to understand together what it is that perhaps, didn't cause. But again, something we want to be able to be vulnerable enough to just have the discussions and the conversations around, hey, this is, I think I'm changing in this area, or I was feeling this because, of this, and this wasn't working out at my job. So I began to feel, unappreciated and unloved. And so in that, you actually having that time where you're being vulnerable in your conversations. And it's about how you are and the attention that you give to one another in the bedroom.
Right. That's right. And sometimes it's not even a sexual thing. Maybe we could revisit this and see why people cheat and really begin to explore why folks cheat.
Okay.
And see that sometimes people in good relationships, the cheating piece can come in a whole different way, a whole different situation.
Yeah, we might have to.
Yeah,
because you touching on something that we're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah, because everybody don't cheat just because they cheaters.
Okay.
I mean, that's if you look at Cheaters, the little show or whatever, you think people just out here cheat or whatever. There are different circumstances and situations that sometimes people find themselves into, and they cheat.
That's true. And so what helps that is communicating.
Yes.
And sometimes that's what happens especially when you're in long-term relationships. That communication piece is something that you continue. You don't just learn that and snap your fingers and say, "Oh, we're good with our communication," but you're changing. And so in the ebbs and the flows of life and relationships, we've got to have communication. We've got to be having the in-depth conversations and not being afraid of them, but taking risk in the physical intimacy area is definitely needed.
Hands down. So in getting in that, if you're finding it difficult to overcome those, a situation like that, even if it's just perceived, maybe you have no evidence that the person cheated. Maybe you have no knowledge that they cheated. Maybe it was some inappropriate text that you found, or that just anything could have happened to have you thinking that your partner is cheating. And perception is reality a lot of times. And now you feel a certain way about the relationship. You feel like things aren't, going right. If you need assistance in that, go to ericandelaine.com and get sign up and book your appointment today. Because these things, to overcome this, is not a singular thing. That's one of the other things when you repair is to go and get some help. That's a piece to help you. Y'all trying to do it yourselves. You need some coaching.
Yeah, you need professional guidance.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need a safe environment, to facilitate the healing. Unbiased, to facilitate that healing. And one of the things that we boast is that you get two people. You don't have to worry about that whole situation where, it's a female coach or counselor and they're going to take the side of my spouse. I know men, guys, I know I've been there. Even with men, because men can take this damsel in distress approach and look at you like you sideways and everything. So, you don't have to be concerned about that. We'll eliminate all of that because Elaine is going to keep me accountable. Because she's from where?
Third Ward, on the good side, next up to the Washington.
She gonna keep me straight.
Okay.
And I'm from City Gas, and I'm a country boy from New Canaan.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep you.
Claim yours.
I'm gonna keep her on 100.
But yes. So we're here for you because really, sexual intimacy. We will say that sexual intimacy is founded, when the emotional state, is in good repair.
Intact.
It's founded on emotional connection.
To where it's not forced. So it's got to be to where it's not forced, but it's like Cialis when the time is right. That it will happen spontaneously. It will happen spontaneously, and your relationship can repair organically.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So. With that, being that you stayed to the end of this video, we will give you an answer on whether or not you can love a person who cheated on you again. The answer is Depends.
Absolutely.
No, okay.
I was going to say absolutely,
maybe. And I'm talking about depends. But yes, it can. Yes, it can. You can love a person who cheated on you.
Certainly.
Again, however, we would always tell, when you get help, consider your mental health and whether or not it's best for you.
And be willing to do the work.
Yes, hands down. It ain't going to happen overnight, but be willing to do the work.
Absolutely.
And for the long haul. All right. Well, that's it.
That's it. That's all.
I'm Eric, your country boy.
And I'm Elaine, your city girl.
Bidding you
Peace
and multiplied blessings. I was off, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were.
You want me to do it again? Peace and multiplied blessings. All right, y'all.
Later.
Take care.